So your warm-up today, I asked you could use your smartphone, if you got one of those, or your iPhone, or your Android, or your stuff. You could use any of those, or a Chromebook, or if you're at home, you can just use a regular computer. And tell me, what biological process ensures that siblings look and are different from each other? How does this process work? On page 43 and 44 today, your essential question today, as I try and get this to do its thing, is what differences exist between mitosis and meiosis? Your code is 120, and then your topic today is meiosis. The easiest way to explain meiosis is that it is mitosis 2 times in a row. Same thing, you remember the stages and what's happening in each stage? If you still do, this becomes really easy because it's the same thing, it just happens twice. Right? So in mitosis, you get one cell and it makes an identical copy of itself by like doubling its DNA and then splitting in half. In meiosis, you don't get that because it goes through it twice. They still double their DNA, they split in half, and then those cells split in half again. Right? Because if you double your DNA and you split in half, you've got the correct amount of DNA, right? If you double it and then cut it in half, you've got enough to make one person. But then you cut that in half again, and then you've only got 50% of what it takes to make a person, and those are your sex cells. So meiosis is really just mitosis that happens twice with a couple significant but easy to remember differences in between them. So to do this, though, we've got a couple of vocab words that you're going to need to have. Sorry this pops up all at once. And please don't feel like you need to write down the whole thing up here. Right? We're trying to summarize this. So you may not even write these down yet. You may listen to what I say before you write them down. But there are only, at the very base level, 2 types of cells in our body. There are somatic cells, which are body cells. Those are every single cell in your body is a somatic cell. So like skin cells, eyeball cells, blood cells, toenail cells, mucus-producing cells, like your booger-making cells. Everything that's in you like that is a somatic cell. I know that made some people hungry, but try not to think about it. So everything that's in you like that is called a somatic cell. And they are this word down here that we're going to define in a minute. It's diploid, it's called. You don't need to define it now. We'll get it in a second. But somatic cells in your body are diploid. They have the correct number or the correct amount of DNA to make a human inside of them. The other cells you have in your body are your sex cells, and those are called gametes. Right? And in a fellow, that's sperm, and in a lady, that's eggs. Those things only have half of the number of chromosomes that they're supposed to have. That's because one sex cell with half the number of chromosomes it's supposed to have combines with another sex cell with half the number of chromosomes it's supposed to have. And when you put 2 halves together, you get a whole, or a baby, whichever you want to think about. Starting off here with. But the next vocab word is homologous chromosomes. That's how you pronounce it, homologous. And a homologous chromosome is a pair of chromosomes that are similar size and shape. So, the way to think about that is your pair of chromosomes from your dad, right? So here is your chromosome from your dad, and then here is your chromosome from your mom. These are homologous chromosomes, these 2 things together. And they are chromosomes that code for the same stuff, right? So you've got DNA that codes for your eye color, and that codes for your hair color, and codes for the way your teeth are, and everything like that. On these, let's say this is your dad's one, and this is your mom's one. You've got the same information. Your dad's got a little spot over here that codes for eye color. Your mom's one over here has a little spot that codes for eye color. So they're chromosomes that code for the same stuff, but they may have a different code for it, right? Like you may get a blonde hair trait from your mom and a brown hair trait from your dad, but they both code for the same stuff. They both code for hair color. So homologous chromosomes are chromosomes, one from mom, one from dad, that are the same shape. They code for the same stuff. Make sense?
Yes.
Not quite? Okay. Typically, they are similar in size and shape. The only time they're really like drastically different is for the sex chromosome, like the X and the Y. If you're XY, you're a male. If you're XX, you're a female. Other than that, they're pretty much the same size and shape and everything. So another vocab word in pink here. Homologous pairs that we're talking about, those chromosomes up there, carry genes. This is what I was just saying. Carry genes that control the same inherited traits. So just like I was saying up here, like they both have stuff for eye color, they both have stuff for hair color. That's what that's saying here. Homologous chromosomes, these things carry information for the same stuff. All right, so when they pair up, it's not like your chromosome from your dad that tells you about eye color and height and intelligence pairs up with your mom's chromosome that tells you about like foot size, Morton syndrome, and dangly earlobes or not. Like they pair up the same. So homologous chromosomes code for the same stuff. So in this, what you can see is it's me trying to explain to you like how the word diploid and haploid fit with the word like homologous pairs and stuff like that. But it says if an organism, and an organism is a living thing, has a diploid number, right? You can call it 48, you can call it 36, whatever. That number is represented by 2n. What that means is it's got two matching homologs per set. So it's got two of these per set, right? This would be, if this was in a cell, this would be a cell that is diploid. It's got the homologous chromosomes. One comes from mom, one comes from dad. Most of us are most critters out there are diploid. We've got 23 sets of these chromosomes, so 23 pairs like this. And therefore, if you do the math, right, if we've got 23 pairs like this, that gives us 46 total chromosomes that we've got. So the diploid number for us is 46. That's how many chromosomes we got. Jack? It's explaining to you like homologous pairs of chromosomes, so it's a better picture than I can draw. But it says this would be considered like a homologous pair of chromosomes, right? We've got the mom and the dad thing here. Oops, went too far. We've got the mom chromosome. We've got the dad chromosome. There's eye color up here. There's eye color there. So they're the same. They code for the same things, right? That's all it is. So that hopefully this isn't too big of an issue. It's just you get one from mom and you get one from your dad, right? Are you guys okay with the idea of homologous chromosomes? Because if you're not, I can take more time, which is, I know, super awesome and fun. But it is critical you get this. What's that? It's already been gotten. What's that from? The title of our unit is it's meiosis. And what helps me with this is like meiosis makes sex cells, and there's an E in there. And then that's how I tell them apart. Mitosis makes regular cells. Meiosis has an E in it, and it makes sex cells. So meiosis is the process by which your sex cells are made. That's what it is. So during the process, like it says here, your cells, your normal, like diploid cells, are reduced to haploid. So your chromosome number is reduced in half. Right, from that to that. And the result of this, like if you had some malfunction and for whatever reason you didn't go through meiosis, number one, like you wouldn't have a feasible child. You wouldn't be able to conceive. But if through some weird thing you were able to conceive, every new generation would have like double the number of chromosomes that came before it. So like your DNA, you'd be totally different in terms of genetic makeup and how much is in you every single time. Yeah, and that's what it says. I mean, it's a deadly thing if you get that. Your body can't read that. It doesn't know how to process that. So if it didn't occur, you wouldn't be viable. This needs to occur. Jacques?